Moving to Colorado can be a little bit overwhelming, especially if you don't know the area or what location to move to. So that's what this video is for. I'm going to be talking about the top 5 suburbs of Denver that I think that maybe you should consider if you're thinking about moving to Colorado. Let's get started. Hi there, Kristy Lee here, and I am a local real estate agent in the state of Colorado, but more importantly, I am a native. In fact, all of these 5 areas I'm going to be talking to today, I've actually lived in, so I do have some knowledge and some, opinions about these particular areas. So let's just jump right in. So the number first area I think you should consider is going to be Broomfield. Now, Broomfield is going to be one of the larger areas that I'm going to be talking about. It is located kind of smack dab northwest-ish, right there, right in the middle of, say, Denver and Boulder. It's roughly about 20 minutes to Denver, but you could actually, depending on what side of Broomfield you're living in, you could get into Boulder roughly 15-20 minutes as well. Broomfield is going to be very spread out. It's going to be about 33 square miles, so it is going to be quite a bit larger than some of the other places that I'm going to talk about. But the reason I like this area is, one, for the location. The location is amazing, especially if you want to go to the mountains quite a bit, or even if you do live or visit areas such as Denver or Boulder, if you work there quite a bit or you utilize those areas quite a bit, Broomfield is going to be key. Broomfield is going to be, on average, home price is roughly, what are we at? About $700,000. Now, $700,000 in Broomfield is going to roughly get you maybe something built in the 80s or 90s, maybe about 2,000 square feet or so. Now, if you're wanting something newer, they definitely have newer homes in Broomfield. They are still building in Broomfield quite a bit. But those newer homes or larger homes are going to be starting in the probably 800s and then going well into the multi-millions, depending on where you're at, of course. The population in Broomfield is going to be a lot larger than some of the other areas I'm going to talk about as well. We have 75,000 people living in Broomfield. So it is a lot bigger. One downside I do find about Broomfield is that it doesn't have like that downtown area that maybe some other areas are going to have. So that that main strip that's going to have like restaurants or boutiques or, typically they close those areas off for like maybe farmers markets or something. Broomfield definitely does not have that. Now, don't get me wrong, they have areas where they do have events. It's typically going to be in the Broomfield Commons Park area. But for the most part, they don't have that cute little area that most people will go to or gravitate towards for like a drink or dinner or whatever. You will have the Flatirons Mall, which is going to be located in Broomfield. And I know that it's a mall, like a normal mall, obviously, but they are going through some renovations over there to make it even better. So over the next couple years or so, it's going to be a much cooler area to be hanging out in. And then you're going to have, 6 golf courses in Broomfield. So if you're a golfer, that is phenomenal. You have 6 to choose from out there. You're going to have amazing views. So when you're living in Broomfield, you're going to have the amazing views of the Flatirons, which is awesome because that's why people move to Colorado, right? Is our mountains. So you're going to have the Flatirons right there. If you're looking towards say the Boulder area, there's so many parks, so many open spaces in Broomfield that you could, ride your bike, walk, hike, whatever you want to do. There's so much of that. Where it's located is going to be kind of in the middle of the Boulder Turnpike, which is Highway 36 and I-25. So it kind of sits right there in the middle of that. So to kind of give you an idea of where that is, and then it just kind of spreads out, and it actually kind of like bleeds into a little bit of Westminster, Erie, Superior. It kind of just bleeds into those areas right there. Now, if you're considered about kids in school, there actually is 3 different districts in Broomfield, ironically. So you're going to have Broomfield County. So you're going to have Broomfield School District. You're going to have Boulder Valley School District. And then you're also going to have Adams 12 5-star. So do your research on all of those, depending on which school districts you want to be in. That's going to probably place you in a specific area of Broomfield. Obviously, Colorado has open enrollment. So even if you like one particular area of Broomfield, but you don't want to be in that school district, you could always open enroll as long as there is availability in those specific schools. So that is going to be the first one, Broomfield, Colorado. Highly recommend. All right, if you're liking my content, please remember to click that subscribe button right there. Give me a thumbs up. That really helps me push out my content to other people that just like you who are hoping to find a new home. All right, let's get back to this video. All right, so the second one on my list is going to be Highlands Ranch, Colorado. So that is actually going to be on the south side of Denver, roughly about 30 minutes south of Denver, kind of right there. And it's located on C470. So if you're somebody who likes to go to the mountains quite a bit, Highlands Ranch is going to be a great location for you because you're just going to hop right on C470, head west, you'll run right into I-70, and that'll take you right up to the mountains in no time. So mountain warriors, weekend mountain warriors, Highlands Ranch is going to be perfect for you. Now, Highlands Ranch is going to be larger in size. It's going to be 24 square miles with 103,000 people. So there is quite a bit bigger as far as people are concerned. This is going to be very much a master planned area. It started off as a master plan community and then just kind of made its own city down there. So Highlands Ranch is going to be essentially established in the late 80s, early 90s. So that's kind of the feel you're going to get. You're not going to really have any houses older than that. In fact, they are still actively building Highlands Ranch. So you could definitely get something newer in Highlands Ranch. But for the most part, you're roughly, 90s, 2000s is really when it was. Home prices in that area are going to be roughly about $750,000. And again, that's going to get you roughly 90s, early 2000s, 3 to 4 bedroom house, maybe 2,500 square feet. If you want something bigger with views or anything like that, obviously those prices are going to go up. They're definitely known for their open space down in Highlands Ranch. I love this area for a lot of reasons, mainly because of all their open space, but they have a couple state parks down there. So Roxborough State Park as well as Chatfield Reservoir. Now, I'm not sure if they're actually located specifically in the Highlands Ranch area, but they're like right there. So, you could get to both of these state parks within minutes if you're living in Highlands Ranch. Roxborough, you're going to have those big, huge red rocks. You could go, hiking or, walking through there, walk your dog. Speaking of dog, there was my dog. Walk your dog through there. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And then you're going to have Chatfield State Reservoir, which again, a lot of open space, but you also have the lake down there too. So you could go boating, fishing, kayaking, all of that good stuff down there. So that's an awesome area if you're living in Highlands Ranch. Now, there is going to be 4 full-scale rec centers that you could utilize when you live down there, as well as 2 golf courses. So there's plenty of things to do when you're living in Highlands Ranch. As far as shopping is concerned, there's plenty of big box stores. You're going to have the Targets, the Walmarts, Costco's, things like that's going to be down there. If you're wanting more of a mall area, you're probably going to have to head towards Park Meadows, which is in Lone Tree, which is just east of Highlands Ranch. So to get into that mall, you're probably about 15-20 minutes, but it's a great mall. So, it's worth the drive. So that's where you're going to head for shopping, I would say. As far as schools are concerned, they are in Douglas County School District. So it's really, according to niche.com, Douglas County is really highly ranked. Do your research on that, of course. But growing up in this area, Douglas County was always one of the better counties to be in. So, you can't really go wrong living in Highlands Ranch when it comes to their school systems. All right, so number 3 on my list is actually Parker. And I talk about Parker quite a bit. I have a lot of clients who want to live in Parker. And I totally get it. I love Parker as well. So Parker is going to be located, southeast of Denver, roughly about 25 minutes southeast of Denver. What I love about Parker, though, is while it's about 25 minutes southeast of Denver, you're really, really close to Castle Rock. So Castle Rock, you could get into Castle Rock in maybe 15-20 minutes, depending on what part of Parker you're actually in. So, you kind of are going to be able to go to both of those cities really in no time. And Castle Rock is phenomenal as well. Parker is going to be quite a bit smaller. You're at 22 square miles and it's 64,000 people who live there. So it is going to be quite a bit smaller. You have more of that small town feel when you're in Parker. What I love about this area is that it's called the Tree City, and it's known for their pines. Their pines are everywhere. When you're driving around, you're going to see a lot of pinery. There's actually a neighborhood called the Pinery, and it's no joke. Like you see, it looks like you're in the mountains, even though you're way east of the mountains, which is very ironic. You see deer walking through neighborhoods all the time in Parker. So it is definitely a completely different vibe down in that area. While it's definitely a city vibe, you definitely have, you know, the big box stores, you have the shopping, you have all of that good stuff. It still feels very smaller, and definitely more mountainous for some reason. There's a lot of views out there, but there's a lot more rolling hills out in that area as well. What I love about this particular area is that this one actually does offer a small town, like main street area. So that's where you're gonna have like the boutiques, a couple breweries, shopping, you know, lunch areas, things like that. It's just really, really cute in that area. And that's why I really do love this area, because that's where they hold their events. They have a lot of, you know, events year round, whether it be festivals, parades. At Discovery Park, which is going to be right there kind of on their little main strip, you are going to have ice skating in the winter time, you know, hot chocolate and all that good stuff. They just have a lot going on down there for their residents. They do have 900 acres of parkland and open space. So if you're somebody who likes to be outside, even though it's so much east of the mountains, you actually have a lot to do out there. In fact, when you're driving around, you'll notice there's a lot of people on horseback riding all over too. So there's a lot more open space, a lot more small town feel in Parker. If you're wanting to purchase a house out in that area, on average, right now, they're going for roughly $700,000. So it is going to be a little bit less than some of the other areas I've spoken about. So a lot more bang for your buck. Those homes at 700 are probably actually going to be mid 2000s up until actually almost now, I would say. They're constantly building out there. There's so many new build communities out in this area, and you're actually going to get great priced for them. You really are. So you definitely get more bang for your buck. Smaller town feel, definitely a really cool vibe. It just is a little bit farther from Denver. One thing it is cool about Parker as well, though, it is located off of E470. E470 is going to take you right into the airport, so DIA. So if you're somebody who travels a lot for work or even just for fun, you're going to be able to hit the airport really in no time. One thing about E470 though, it is a toll road. So, you know, you're going to have to pay if you want to utilize it, but it is so convenient, and you could get into the airport maybe 15 minutes or so. All right. So number 4 on my list is going to be Arvada. Now Arvada actually is where I grew up. I lived there for pretty much almost my entire life, growing up, went to high school in Arvada, everything. So Arvada is great. Arvada is going to be located west of Denver, roughly about 15 minutes or so, right off of I-70. And so the location for Arvada is going to be 100% prime if you love to be outside. So if you go hiking, biking, camping, skiing, whatever that might be, you could head up to those mountains anytime because you are legit located right off of I-70. Another cool thing about Arvada though is that if you're somebody who likes to gamble, Blackhawk and Central City is located within, say, 30 minutes or so of Arvada as well. It's just right up the hill. So that's what we always say, we're going up the hill, because you legit are going up the hill to go play in Blackhawk. So that's super fun. Arvada is going to be roughly 39 square miles, and it's a lot bigger population, 124,000 people who live in Arvada. Now, Arvada is definitely spread out for sure, and it is going to be quite a bit older than some of these other neighborhoods. It's going to be, roughly about Broomfield's age, I would say. Arvada is known for a lot older homes, maybe those mid-century homes, and actually that's why a lot of people, I feel, especially like the millennial age, are gravitating towards Arvada, because Old Town Arvada, which is super cool, but it's surrounded by those mid-century homes, because essentially that was Arvada when it first started. So all of these really cool houses are surrounding this Old Town area, which is totally revamped and really cool. So all these people are moving here. So I will say, on average, home prices are going to be mid 600s, but that's going to pretty much get you one of those mid-century homes, okay? Maybe 3-bedroom, built in the 50s or 60s, probably has renovated at that price point, but some of them haven't, and they're going to be lower, of course. Now, if you're wanting something newer, a new build, bigger space, whatever it might be, all of those homes are going to be built pretty much going to be on the west side of Arvada. They're building all over in Arvada, but mainly those communities are west side of Arvada. So you're looking at, say, Westwoods, Candelayas, Layden Rock, all of those. Now those are going to be priced higher. Probably about $750 and up. Those ones are going to have phenomenal views. You're right there off the foothills. You could get into Superior and Boulder legit in no time. And they're just building like crazy in that area. I mean, they have a bunch of new shopping, you know, medical facilities. All of that stuff is going to be on the west side of Arvada. Arvada as a whole is going to be, I mean, they really love, you know, community stuff. They really have tight-knit community in Arvada, and all of that kind of does take place in Old Town Arvada. Now, they completely revamped Old Town Arvada, like I mentioned, so you're going to have a couple breweries, cool boutiques, great restaurants, great shopping, and what's even more cool is that they actually brought the light rail system into Arvada. So there's a stop that's legit right there in Old Town Arvada, so you could take the light rail into Denver, you know, go see a baseball game, a football game, whatever it might be, and that'll take you directly into a downtown Denver, which is phenomenal, right? Because we never had that before. They're building a bunch of apartments there, condos there. There's just so much stuff going on in this area. You know, you just have to depend on what side of Arvada you're really wanting to be, because it's really going to be drastically different when it comes to the style of house and, of course, the price point of this house as well. All right, last but certainly not least is Erie, Colorado. Now, Erie is actually where I currently live right now, and I've been here for roughly about 10 years, and I've seen it blow up. So it is by far the fastest growing out of the last 4 I've talked about. I mean, this one is going like crazy, but it is also the smallest. So it is going to be 19 square miles, and it's going to be roughly 33,000 people who live here. Erie is going to be located just north of Denver, right on I-25, roughly about 25 minutes of Denver, and pretty much 25 minutes or so east of Boulder. So it's going to be right there. Now this area is going to be really prime because people want to be in this area, but still want to utilize all the amenities of, say, Lafayette, Louisville, and even Boulder for that matter. So a lot of people are coming to this area because it's a much better price point than, say, Boulder. Speaking of price point, we are at about $750,000 for a home right now, which is going to be quite a bit less than Boulder, which is like 1.3 million. So 750,000 is going to be roughly get you a home built in the 2000s, maybe 3 or 4 bedroom, maybe about 2,200 square feet. Now, I will say about Erie is that it's being built like crazy. I mean, there's communities going up all over the place. So you could get something, you know, 750,000, you could get something into like 1.4 million dollars with the views, with the finished basements, with all of this goodness that you might want. The reason I personally love Erie is because it is, while growing like crazy, it is still very small, especially compared to some of these other communities that I've just talked about. It reminds me a lot of Parker, just on the smaller scale. So we do have that small town Main Street area where all of our festivities happen, our farmers markets, our parades, all of that stuff. They shut that down and you can walk around with your beer and enjoy whatever might be going on at that time. So they really do all of that kind of stuff, which I love. And they also have all these other things. So we do have a golf course here. It's called Colorado National Golf Course, and that's actually where the CU Buffs practice. We have a Erie single track. We have Erie disc golf. We have 58 miles of trails in Erie as well. There's new development going on. So currently we have what's being built is going to be called Erie Town Center. So that's going to be where a lot more retail is coming in. I heard there might be like a Sprouts or something. Fingers crossed, we're not really sure, but there's going to be retail right there. Over in the Westerly neighborhood, which is actually a legit neighborhood being built, but they're actually bringing in retail in that neighborhood as well. There's just a lot of things going on to bring people into this area, which is phenomenal, but it's still trying to keep that small town feel too. We do have a rec center, we do have our library, we have all of that good stuff right here. And so that's why I definitely love this area. This area is going to be both split in Weld County and Boulder County. So depending on which side of Erie you're living in, you're going to be in different counties. And then the school districts are either going to be Boulder Valley School Districts or St. Vrain Valley School Districts. Again, depending on where you're living in Erie is going to determine that. Overall, I think all 5 are amazing places to live. You really can't go wrong. And like I said, I've pretty much lived in all of them. So I can't say anything really negative about any of them, really. If you have any questions, please reach out to me anytime. I'd love to hear from you. I love talking to all of you, help you find your new home. Remember to click that subscribe button right there. That way you are notified every time I have a new video. And then to the next video, take care.